News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, hour number 2 of the show. And 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. We have the Trump jury info. The trial starts Monday. But let me give you some of the craziness that went down today. Here's Trump speaking at the end of the day.
They've taken away my constitutional rights to speak, and that includes speaking to you. I have a lot to say to you, and I'm not allowed to say it. And I'm the only one. Everyone else can say whatever they want about me. They can say anything they want. They can continue to make up lies and everything else. They lie. They're real scum. But you know what? I'm not allowed to speak. And I want to be able to speak to the press and everybody else about it. So why am I gagged about telling the truth? The judge has to take off this gag order.
And literally, they're not even giving him the witnesses that are going to be until the next day, until literally like the night before or something of that nature. He doesn't even know who he and his team, legal team, can't get the information on which witnesses are going in what order. So they can be prepared for it until like literally the night of or something, the night before. This is everything is designed to put this man in jail. And in fact, that's what the crazy leftist media says today they want to do. Listen to this unbelievable garbage.
Put him in jail? At the same time,
Joey, is that what you're saying?
Why not? That's exactly what I'm saying, Jim. I mean, look, yes, I get he's a former president. How else are you going to maintain decorum? How else are you going to maintain respect?
Because he's an ex-president.
Yeah.
But it's even more incumbent on the court in this process to hold Trump accountable. And I don't think fines are going to do it. I think he needs to sit in a cell. He should be put in a cell and contemplate his behavior.
I am also seeing tonight, so they want to put him in a cell, they want to lock him up. Second of all, I saw this tonight from Leading Report, one of the news outlets I follow online on Twitter, I should say. And House Democrats, they say, have introduced legislation to strip former President Donald Trump of his Secret Service protection should he be convicted of one of the frivolous criminal charges against him. I'm going to give you the jury people now, but this is complete and total insanity. And I want to ask you something on this, too. Or let me point something out from my friend. I would take credit for this, but my friend's the one who came up with this, and he texted it to me yesterday. He says, let me process this. A woman says she can be impartial and is sworn in as a juror, and then friends and family discover she's a juror, and now she can't be impartial. Is she afraid of mob rule? Of the mob rule going at, the mob going after her? Is there any conceivable way to panel a jury in this? No. Everybody's going to be terrified of the mob if they don't convict Trump. The Biden Democrat, Biden voter mob. Like the people you're seeing screaming in the street saying, we are Hamas at Columbia University. Who are the jurors in the Trump trial? Here they are. My question for you on this is, do you trust these jurors? I'm going to be reading off a list of who they are, but do you trust these jurors to make the right decision in this case? And do you think Trump will get a fair trial? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Here are the people. 7 men, 5 women. They're from the Upper East Side, from Harlem, from Hell's Kitchen and West Village, the West Village, and several say they have no strong opinions on Trump. I don't see how that's possible. A few said they don't closely follow the news. It's unclear, the racial makeup as well, they said. So let me share with you what we do know. This is all from The Guardian tonight, everything I've shared with you right there. Juror number 1, a man who works in sales, previously worked as a waiter, has some college education, married with no children. New York Times, Daily Mail, Fox News, MSNBC is what he follows. But do you really believe he follows the Fox News? If he includes the New York Times and MSNBC, that's pretty crazy. But juror 2, investment banker, MBA in finance. This guy's got to be an anti-Trumper. He reads basically everything. He sees Trump's Truth Social posts on Twitter. So maybe he follows. Maybe he's his follower. I don't know. I don't think so. But he had not read any of Trump's books, but he had seen quotes from The Art of the Deal. Juror 3. Man in his late 20s, early 30s, originally from the West Coast. That's not good. Works in corporate law. Bad, bad, bad. In fact, they have DEI stuff on their website. Jesse Waters said from Fox News. Indicates he's from New York. He says his news is from the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and Google. Juror 4, West Coast man, formerly security engineer, some college education, married with children, not on social media, once served as a criminal jury in the past, though we couldn't remember the verdict. How could you not remember the verdict of a criminal jury? Juror number 5, a young woman. Had friends with strong opinions on Trump. This woman's a red flag. She was not political. She avoided the news. Oh, boy. She did appreciate Trump's candor. Okay, well, maybe she will go on our side. She appreciated Trump's candor. He speaks his mind, and I'd rather have someone speak his mind in office who you don't know than somebody who's in office that you don't know what they're thinking. Maybe she will be a pro-Trump person that is pro-Trump. Juror 6, a woman who works in tech. No strong feeling about Trump. Right. Unmarried with no children. This woman is an awful, I bet you. One of the awfuls. New York Times, Google, Facebook, and TikTok is the news. This woman's going to be anti-Trump. Juror 7, a man in his late middle age, works as a civil litigator. Again, this is the other litigator Waters talked about that says they got DEI stuff all over their website. His news from the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, New York Post, Washington Post, and from podcasts. New York Post and Wall Street Journal are good signs, but Washington Post and New York Times not. A retired wealth manager is number 8. Strong opinions about Trump. He said yes. That means he probably hates him. That's all he said. Here's one that's going to be horrible. Juror 9, a woman that lives alone, doesn't follow the news closely, originally from New Jersey. That doesn't seem good to me. Juror 10, a man who works in e-commerce, did not really check the news, listens to podcasts on behavioral psychology from Ohio. I don't know about this guy. He sounds like a serial killer or a prevert to me. That's all. I don't know what to think of that guy. Juror 11, a woman, doesn't follow the news, but watch. Oh, this might be the worst red flag of them already. A woman who does not follow the news but watches late night comedy shows. All they do now is attack Trump. You know that. She's originally from California. That's a massive red flag. Never rallied for or against Trump. One of her close friends was convicted of financial fraud. She's a guilty verdict already. Juror number 12, a woman who works as a physical therapist. She reads major news outlets, listens to podcasts about sports and faith. Just because she listens to stuff about faith doesn't mean she's going to actually be a Trump supporter. People say they listen to that, but it's something I wouldn't support, maybe. I don't know. So there you go. I don't have much confidence, but all it'll take is one of them. Do you trust these jurors to make the right decision in this case? Do you think Trump will get a fair trial? I think the answer is no, I don't trust the jurors, and no, I don't think Trump will get a fair trial. If this were Westchester County, which is a neighboring county that one of those neighboring counties that Judge Jeanine Pirro said, then he would get a fair trial, where it's 50-50 or 60-40 Democrat, not this 90-10. But we'll see. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Why is this trial going on? Because Joe Biden is losing in just about everything lately. Battleground poll came out today, and so much more I'm going to share with you next on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. And then Joe Biden talking about his uncle, who is a war hero that died and was eaten by cannibals. Even the Associated Press corrected him on this today. You're going to hear about that. And next, you'll hear him say what he said next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP.
That appears to be their strategy, but I'm here to tell you it's not working. It's not working at all. And to be quite honest with you, I don't mind the fact that it's not working, because I might not be a supporter of Donald Trump, but I want him to lose the right way. I want him to lose because you have better ideas and you make your case to the American people better than he does.
Stephen A. Smith, who is definitely not a Trump supporter, but he says this is a disgrace and a joke. This is a bogus case. This is the example of people who are not supporters of Trump at all, but can see this and how much of a disgrace and a joke this is. Do you trust these jurors to make the right decisions in this case? Do you think Trump will get a fair trial? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Steve, you're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP. Hi, Steve, in Irving.
Hey, Chris, thanks for having me again. You and I spoke some days ago. I think it was Monday or something like that. But anyway, it's been a little while. And, I was saying what you're talking about here, and that there was a very, very high probability that Trump will be headed to jail. He's going to be convicted. And, I said probably they'll hold him in Mar-a-Lago to keep him off the campaign trail. Well, for a living around Dallas area, all day long, Dallas-Fort Worth, and all I listen to is AM radio all day long, 12 hours a day. And the reports, I don't remember who all said this, but I heard it twice, that now there's certain Democrats that are trying to get Trump's Secret Service detail removed.
That's exactly what I mentioned a little earlier. Let me share with you what I got on that. Oh, my gosh. They want to remove his Secret Service is exactly right. That is exactly right. And let me read to you what I got from Leading Report, one of the accounts I follow that's a news outlet. Here we go. House Democrats have introduced legislation to strip former President Trump of his Secret Service protection should he be convicted of one of the frivolous criminal cases against him. There you go.
Yeah, and so that right there negates Mar-a-Lago and his Secret Service, and he goes to either a federal prison or a state prison to be Clinton side.
Because I've talked about this. Here we go. This is it right here. Oh my gosh, from the Hill. Former January 6 panel chair seeks to strip Secret Service protection from felons, which is where they're going after President Trump. Here we go. Quote, the former chair of the now disbanded January 6 committee, which was a joke. They withheld things. They only showed what they would show for them, not for the truth. They also deleted they deleted documents and they deleted emails and stuff like that, so you could not see things that made their case look like a joke, because it is a joke. The former chair, now disbanded at January 6th committee, introduced a bill Friday. That's today, of course, that would strip Secret Service protection of any strip of any former executive convicted of a felony and afford effort to avoid the complication of incarcerating President Trump should the order serve should he serve jail time. This is so angering. I told you they have to shut a complete wing. My theory on this, they would have to shut a complete wing of the jail down. They want to put this man in a cage. Like a normal person without any Secret Service. They will kill him. They want to kill him.
Yes, sir. And it's like they've got their ducks in a row, just like the stars line up certain ways. Sometimes they got their ducks in a row. They've got all their prosecutors lined out. They got all the judges lined out. They got the witnesses lined out. And, it's like I said, Trump's back is against the wall, and it's only going to be by the grace of God that this man is not thrown in a jail cell and murdered. And this is the highest and worst case of treason, since 1776. It really is. There's no other way to look at it. I mean, this man has done nothing wrong. He loves America. He stood up for the American people. He's not the savior, but man, he is. What this country needs, and he's fighting for us, and he said he would take the slings and arrows, and he's doing it. And, it's a bad situation. It really is. Okay. And it's going to throw this country into turmoil like we have never known.
Benny Thompson, I am horrified at this and deeply disturbed as I read this. This is every piece that we're talking about right here has come out in the past 6 hours. Steve, I appreciate your call, and I thank you. Several lines open for you right now, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. So I'm going to add to the fray on this. In addition to, do you trust these jurors to make the right decision in this case in New York, and do you think Trump will get a fair trial? I'm going to add one more thing. Do you support stripping President Donald J. Trump of his Secret Service protection if he's convicted of a felony? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I can't believe I'm saying that as a question. I'm asking you that, but it has to be asked with this. Coming up, I actually have time to do it right now. I'm going to share with you what Newsweek is reporting, which is they're now a right-leaning good source for news, believe it or not. Not like they were old self was. A prominent House Democrat, has introduced legislation to strip felons of Secret Service protection, specifically mentioning Trump. President Trump if he's convicted of one or more of his criminal trials. Mississippi Representative Benny Thompson, a Democrat, ranking member of the House Committee on Homeland Security, is bringing forth the Denying Infinite Security and Government Resources Act allocated toward convicted and extremely dishonorable former President Protectees Act, or the Disgraced Act. He says extremely dishonorable former Protectees Act. Benny Thompson has taken a 5-gallon container of gas and lit it on fire tonight. I am speechless. Though Trump, let's see here, the bill would pertain to only an individual whose offense is punishable by a term of imprisonment at least 1 year. So they seek to strip his Secret Service protection. I'm incredulous. I am incredulous. I would never support any president of the United States ever, even the most loathed or despised one. Even if they were in prison, I wouldn't care. You have to protect the president. It's our whole freaking nation. It's our whole representation of who we are. To kill, be allowed, those people in jail, they'll be a hero. And now the people of any of these juries will be a hero if they can do this to them. One felony is all they need. Stand by. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I'm going to give you more details on this breaking news tonight. And so, would you support stripping President Trump of his Secret Service detail if he's convicted of any felony? And do you think Trump's going to get a fair trial here in Manhattan starting Monday? And do you trust these jurors to make the right decision in this case? 800-288-WBAP. Here we go. Donald J. Trump. They have the questions I'm asking are, do you think he can get a fair trial? And on this case in Manhattan that starts Monday, do you trust these jurors to make the right decisions in this case? I do not. Now, brand new tonight, breaking news is Trump is a target of a bill by powerful ranking member of the House, Benny Thompson, Democrat from Mississippi. He's one of the January 6th committee members or whatever, and he is just introduced a bill that's called the Disgraced Former Protectees Act that will strip any president or anybody who gets Secret Service protection. If they get convicted of a felony, they will, and are sentenced to prison, they will not get Secret Service. This is a jaw-dropping and breathtaking and sobering and disgusting thing that this man has introduced tonight. And this just came out 6 hours ago. And while Trump is not named as the main purpose, the bill's fact sheet, it's all about Trump. The fact sheet of the bill says the unprecedented 91 felony charges in federal and state courts across the country have created a new exigency that Congress must address. If he's convicted, it would apply if Trump's convicted. This guy, Benny Thompson, is a huge Trump critic and was on the January 6th committee chairman, and recently called an election integrity event he held with Speaker Mike Johnson a sham. So this is it. They want to take they want to convict him, throw him in jail, and they want to take away his Secret Service protection so that he can be shanked or beaten to death in prison. And to think about that happening, to think about that image when I say these things to you tonight is horrifying, and I'm not angry. I'm disgusted and I'm shocked. So, do you support stripping Trump or any Democrat or anyone if they have Secret Service protection from being a former president, former president, and if they're convicted of a crime, a felony, and sent to jail? Do you want them being stripped of Secret Service? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I am just horrifically disgusted at this. And I want to tell you something else. This New York jury I don't trust. This New York judge is completely trying to put Trump in jail. He won't let him know who his witnesses are until the night before because he doesn't want them being disparaged or outed. But all the other witnesses that are star witnesses, like Michael Cohen, his former attorney, a convicted felon, a disgraced man who a judge has called a serial liar, is allowed to attack Trump and say everything and do interviews and everything, but Trump can't say a word. Same thing with Stormy Daniels. She can have a big movie attacking Trump, a tell-all to get enriched from this, but she refused to get served on a serve that Trump did on her through one of his, a court server that serves you papers. She refused to take them, and therefore they've been unable to access any information together on their preparation for this trial. So that's where we're at. And Joe Biden needs to put Trump in jail as much as he can so that he can win because, well, here's why. Shocking poll reveals what Americans really think about criminals slipping into the U.S. among the record illegal migrant flows. And voters are overwhelmingly concerned about killers and rapists crossing the borders. 69% of Joe Biden Democrats say too many crooks are coming in. Brand new from the Daily Mail. So concerned is Democrats are insanely high. Republicans are even higher. 18 to 24 are 61% concerned. 24 of Democrats, by the way, 18 to 24-year-old Democrats are 61% concerned. 25 to 44-year-old Democrats are 70%, 73% concerned. 45 to 64-year-old Democrats are 83% concerned. 65 plus 80%. I mean, this is all destroying him. He announced today Biden limits the oil drilling across 13 million acres of Alaska and Arctic as our gas prices are skyrocketing again, especially after the attacks last night in the Middle East. And an April national poll says that 3 in 4 U.S. voters say cost of living is rising. A brand new Emerson poll, 46% of voters support Trump, only 43 support Biden. So Trump's ahead by 3. This is why they've got to put Trump in jail. And when undecideds are asked who they lean toward, Trump is 51%. Biden is 3 points below at 48. See why? He's not going to win. It looks horrible. So John Kennedy Jr., JFK Jr. has 9% of black voters support right now. That's what Biden's used to taking, that part. Obviously he's used to getting about 90% of it. Trump's getting about 22 now, and total, I think, at least 22 of black men, and black women is somewhere around, I think, that 9% mark. But this is it right now. They got to put him in jail. He ain't going to win otherwise. So, and look at this. Here is a Democrat college student who said, my first vote was for Joe Biden for president, and I regret it. I'm ashamed and I'm embarrassed. It was the first time I could vote in the presidential election. Frankly, I look back, I'm embarrassed, she told Fake News CNN. She's a student at University of Wisconsin, so she's one of these leftists. She's wearing a kafaya, and she appears to be of Arab descent. His policies have killed thousands, she says, of Joe Biden, this Biden voter. Voters like her, she says, will not be coerced by the Democrat Party to stop their protests against Biden just because another candidate is worse. The president believes making your voice heard and participating in democracy is fundamental who we are as Americans. Oh, that's a spokesperson for the president. But this woman says, we're tired of hearing him say these things, his empty promise. We have no trust in Joe Biden. There you go. She's a former Biden voter. She's disgusted and disgraced and ashamed of it. That's one of those Joe Biden voters who won't vote for him again. So he's got to put Trump in jail. That's what he's got to do. Well, next, speaking of good old Joe, the Associated Press calls him out on his cannibalism claims. Is it true that uncles ate his cannibals? That cannibals ate his uncle. But also, Joe could say tomorrow, as you know, he might say that cannibals ate his uncle. Or wait, no, his uncles ate the cannibals. Yeah, Joe could say, you know how tomorrow, would you be surprised though, Producer Garrett, if he says tomorrow, my uncles ate those cannibals? Would you be surprised? I mean, no, because this is how he rolls. And by the way, I'm also hearing that Corn Pop, you know how Corn Pop's been quiet? We haven't heard from him and we've never really met him. He's not surfaced since Joe Biden referenced him years ago, that wonderful man. Corn Pop, I'm hearing reports that actually he was also eaten by the cannibals. by the cannibals. All right, so all that's coming up. And I'm not talking about the delicious treat corn pop. I'm talking about the corn pop. He was a bad dude. Remember Joe talked about corn pop was a bad dude? I think he's not around anymore because the cannibals got him too. All that's coming up next. Oh, and you got to hear this. What do the professors of one of their big universities there in Papua New Guinea, where Joe Biden alleges their cannibals ate his uncle, what do they say? I'm going to give you a hint. These are lecturers and scholars there. They're pissed off. That's next. So this is very serious. Joe Biden's Uncle Bozy, as you know, was eaten by cannibals. And here's what we have on that.
When they called him Uncle Bozy, he was shot down. He was in the Army Air Corps before there was an Air Force. He flew single-engine planes, reconnaissance flights over New Guinea. He had volunteered because someone couldn't make it. He got shot down in an area where there were a lot of cannibals in New Guinea at the time. They never recovered his body, but the government went back when I went down there and they checked and found some parts of the plane and the like. And
So Uncle Bozy was eaten by cannibals. War hero who the plane went down and Uncle Bozy survived the plane crash, but it was the cannibals that got him. And I'm grateful for Joe featuring this hero, Uncle Bozy, who was met his untimely death, not at the hands of war, but at the hands of cannibals. Cannibals, guys. Cannibals ate our war hero. And you must listen to our president. He knows what he's talking about, man. This guy is sharp. He's sharp. Did you see? There's a new ad for Joe Biden that says he's sharp. It's very important. So people know that Joe Biden is sharp, everybody. Very sharp. I'll play that ad in a bit, but my gosh. So Uncle Bozy, unfortunately, the AP is calling out this and saying, no, his Uncle Bozy did not die from cannibals. He did not get shot down over New Guinea. His body was never recovered, and there were no cannibals because it crashed in the sea. Uncle Bozy did not get eaten by cannibals. It didn't get shot down. It crashed in the sea because the engines went out. At the same time, Joe Biden says that man, as in Trump, doesn't deserve to be commander-in-chief for my son and my uncle. Well, unfortunately, both your son and your uncle are dead, Joe, so he couldn't command them right now. And he didn't die by getting eaten by cannibals. In fact, the Pentagon says the Air Force plane was, for unknown reason, went down. It was forced to ditch in the Pacific Ocean. Now, is Joe suggesting that waterborne water, like a water species that lives in the ocean of cannibals, ate him? Is that what he's saying? Makes sense? Because Joe says that cannibals in Papua New Guinea ate Uncle Bozy, but now they're saying the plane went down in the sea. It wasn't shot down. The engines went out, and he has not been associated with remains of the area and of the war and still unaccounted for. Maybe Uncle Bozy is a cannibal and lives there, right? How do we know he's dead? No, it went down in the sea. He also said that his uncle enlisted when D-Day occurred. No, the next day. No, he's 3 years off. Now, I'm going to tell you in just a minute, many professors said this was in New Guinea, literally said this is outrage. It's outraged them, according to the Daily Mail. They said, quote, it's very offensive, and it was engine failure, and it crashed into the ocean is what it says. The Daily Mail reports. Local academics say Biden's categorization is very offensive. A lecturer at the University of Papua New Guinea said locals wouldn't just eat any white men that fell from the sky. Although he does say they would look tasty, though. I'm just kidding. I added that on. They said maybe on a popsicle. That's a joke, too. Other analysts branded Biden's claims as unsubstantiated and poorly judged, especially during a time when the U.S. has been trying to strengthen its ties with Pawpaw. This is Joe Biden's foreign policy on display. They're trying to strengthen their ties, but meanwhile, Joe says, y'all are a bunch of cannibals. But we like you cannibals. Just don't eat us. The Melanesian people, which includes those from Papua New Guinea, are very proud they would be offended, they say. Taken out of context, implying your uncle jumps out of a plane and somehow we think he's a good meal is unacceptable. An economics lecturer says this paints us in a bad light. We've already had a lot of negative press around riots and tribal fighting. This doesn't help. The claims are unsubstantiated. Another one says for this president to say, particularly after a lot with what we've gone through and the work we've been doing in the Pacific, even off the cuff, I don't think that should have been said at all. Now, the governor of Papua New Guinea in one of their provinces, East Sepik, says it's hilarious and he's actually at a loss for words. Okay, so the questions on this, I do have a few questions on it. Do you believe President Biden when he tells you cannibals ate his war hero uncle? Do you believe the president when he says cannibals ate his war hero uncle? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Mike in Frisco, you're on News Talk. I should say you're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP. And I know you were calling to talk about Trump possibly being arrested for jail, but do you have some comments on Uncle Bozy being shot down and then eaten by cannibals? Do you believe Joe?
Yes. Thank you for having me on the show. Yes, I believe Joe, only because I believe that he believes it. That's how far gone he is.
Okay, so you do believe that the cannibals saw a tasty white man coming down out of the sky after the plane got shot down. He didn't crash. The whole plane didn't go down in the sea. And you don't think it was seaborne cannibals that live in the sea? You think it was... Okay.
No, I don't believe it happened. I believe that Joe believes that.
That's right. I like that. Okay, that's good. Now, what about these jurors? You wanted to comment. We don't have time right now, right? Producer Garrett, we got to wrap. Okay, so let me ask you this. Can you hold, Mike, and when we come back, you're going to comment on if you trust these jurors to make the right decision in this case, if you think Trump's going to get a fair trial, and do you think Trump should be stripped of his Secret Service protection if he's convicted and put in jail for a felony, which is shocking and disgusting to even say, but that bill was introduced tonight. Stand by, Mike. Can you hold?
I would love to hold.
Thank you. And I want you to contemplate, do you believe, I actually have heard, and I can't confirm this, but I've heard that Corn Pop was also eaten by those cannibals.
I probably believe that Joe believes that, too.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Yes, he was.
But he was tasty, probably. Stand by.
But he didn't have the hairy legs like Mike.
No, I got the hairy legs. We'll play that, too. I love that one. I got the hairy legs. Kids like to rub them. All right, stand by.